Hello and welcome to this tutorial series in which we will be creating a in-game clock like you can see it here. This video is for showing you what we will be doing and in which cases you may actually need the clock. I also added some buttons for testing purposes in play mode. And as you can see, I can increase the minutes or decrease them. Same for hours, days, and also the season in this case. And it also updates the year if we go over winter to spring. Not only that, but we will also be creating our custom inspector. And I can show you how it would look without it. I think nobody of you would want to work with this here. This is obviously a lot better. So we will be creating our custom inspector using the UI toolkit. And we also will be creating a sort of time check. Let me show you how that works. Right now we are using the hours and the minutes. And as you can see, the start time is 12 o'clock and 18 is the end time. And if we now increase the hours and the speed maybe, as you can see, it now showed up an image. And if we are above the end time, it vanishes. And we can change the behavior. Like, let's say you have a festival that takes place every first spring. Then you can do that and take off use hour and minutes. Right now you can see it's still showing because it's the first spring. But if we now are on the second spring, it disappears. We can now increase the seasons and the days. And if we now increase the time, maybe add a few hours, you can see on the 1st of spring, the image will show up. Yes, as you can see. And on the next day, it's gone. So I think this will be really helpful for you. Now, first, let's have a look at a few examples. We have Story of Seasons, Rune Factory, and Stardew Valley. Each of these determine if you can plant a plant or a crop at a specific season using the in-game time, as well as shops opening or closing at specific times. Then we also have The Sims, where you also, of course, need the clock to know what time it is, because your sim has to go to work or wants to go somewhere else. GTA 5, for example, also has a clock, although it doesn't really play a major role for the game itself. It's just there for the player to see. But then again, Lost in Blue, for example, in this case, Lost in Blue 3 has a day counter as well as a clock that shows the time of day. And there are some cases where things happen at specific times and you as a player the player has to know if he has enough time left to do that. If not, maybe he can do something else. So these are the types of clocks you have already seen in Unity. And maybe you have seen this one as well, but we will be focusing on these two. I already told you a few cases in which we will need a clock. Like, are there time relevant activities? Are shops opening or closing? Are there timed events? And also if there are time limiting factors, like do we have crops or flowers that only grow at a specific season? If so, clocks make it a lot easier for the player to know what to do at a certain time. Now, the approach we will be using is to have a counter. I will show you that. Here in the time manager, we have the overall time. If we set the time to 0 hours, you can see it's 5 minutes. So yeah, 7, 8 minutes, 9, and so on. So this basically shows all the minutes since the first day. And what we can then do, what we can then do is calculate the biggest value first, and then the next smaller one. Like, we have 60 minutes, and then we can multiply that by the hours, days, and months, and look up, like, we have a specific value, divide that by this term, and then we have basically the amount of years, and the remainder we will use to calculate the months, then the days, and so on. In the next video, we will be creating the actual timer to use for our time state. See you then.